Hello, welcome to the North East Art Collective. I'm Alfie Joey. I've been enjoying chatting to some of the artists here, and this is the work of Rob, and it's incredible, as you can see. So, Rob, thanks for chatting to us about your work. I'm stunned you've only been doing this for a few years.
Yeah, it's always been like a passion of mine.
Yeah.
Ever since I was sort of young, I loved to paint. And then even when I was at school and that, it was, I thought that's when the spark arrived.
So you painted right through school?
Yeah, and then it was, the idea was to go and do fine art. That didn't occur. I ended up just doing some textiles and things like that. And then I fell into interior design, and then did interior design for a bit. And then computers really took off. And that's when 3D graphics started to happen, doing visuals in 3D and things like that. So a lot of my working career, although it's still creative, it was in the 3D graphic world. We were doing virtual reality before virtual reality was a thing. We were doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting. But as I got on and got older, you move up the ranks.
Were you still tinkering behind the scenes with the odd sketch features?
Because I was like doing a lot of creative work at work.
Satisfying you.
Yeah. And obviously you get kids and things like that, and your attentions change. And it was only maybe that when I was going up the ladder and work dried up, I was being redundant in 2018. But to be fair, it was probably the best thing that could happen. Because I wasn't enjoying it anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't being creative. I wasn't doing anything. And funny enough, about a year before that, I just realised that I had to start painting again. It was just something that was telling us, pick the brushes up again.
And what happened? Did you just go out and buy a set of brushes?
I've had all my oils and everything from way back and stuff like that.
You still have the set?
Oh yeah. And I just, buy new stuff and things like that. But then you just watch what people are doing online and stuff. And I think, actually I can do that. And that's where I roughly started, just to do art painting. Very basic picture postcard, 10 pictures and things. But still a joy. At one point I was going to work, coming home, on my team, going upstairs and painting till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Loving it.
Loving it,
yeah.
Just being totally absorbed. It was amazing how much your mind is lost once you start doing that.
Yeah, I call it my yoga or whatever it is, mental relaxation.
It is, it's tremendous.
Just detaches everything.
The time just flies.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you've got a theme, you've nailed a style. It's clearly your style. We know what a Rob picture is. There's some brilliant examples of it here. There's a couple of things I want to know. How long would one of these take you? And what would be the starting point for any picture? Because you've drawn, you've nailed the nighttime scene, the wet nighttime scene. And I look at these, I've never drawn anything in the rain with something clear, and I don't know how you get that effect.
Well, I start with going around taking photographs and stuff like that. And then the idea is just not to paint the photograph, because if you want to paint a photograph, just take the photograph and put it out instead. It's not about that, it's more, I've got to get the composition right, I've got to get that feel right in terms of what I'm after. And then obviously, the blur effect is basically any time when you're walking in the street or anything like that, you're not focusing on everything. Your mind you can't work like that. It's just certain things you'll focus on and everything else becomes peripheral and weird. And in the night time, especially, when you get reflections and things like that, there's just this sort of like explosion of colour in your face and things like that, which, although it's not detailed, you still can tell what it is. And that's the idea. It's like it's letting someone else make up the picture rather than you explain it to them. You just give them a little indication of what it is. There's light bouncing off there, for instance, and it's reflections from the pose fan and things.
Yeah, and that's that corner. To me, if I was stood there, I would have thought, well, that's not going to make a painting. And it clearly does, and it's the tiny bits of light that explode out of the canvas. And you always work with oil?
Yeah, I've tried watercolour when I was living in Huddersfield a few years ago, And you know, it was because I'd been painting oil and I'd always loved oil. I found I was just trying to use watercolour like oil, and that just wasn't working. And then obviously, what do you call it?
Acrylics. Not for you.
They're not for me. They dry too fast. To be fair, I mean, I kind of get away with the dullness of the colours and things like that.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a magic to oil, without a doubt. And have you got a favourite? Have you got a favourite area? I mean, these are obviously Newcastle. What excites you most at the minute?
Well, to be honest, it's still Newcastle. I mean, because of lockdown, I was living at the coast. I was doing a few coastal paintings as well, which quite nice to do and things. But it's amazing how you question what you do and how you want to push yourself. And because I'm doing a lot of nighttime scenes, I then think, well, it'd be nice to actually try and branch out a bit and do daytime scenes, and maybe try and get a few more interesting styles going and things like that. So I've got some ideas in my head about Newcastle and how I want to paint and things like that in the daytime and things. And I've just done one recently of the Tyne Bridge in the daytime, but it was like still in the dark alleyway in the foreground.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of like light and dark aspect, and try and getting the viewer to be involved in the scene as well. I think that's pretty important to me. I don't want to be just a photograph or a photo of the painting
what's there.
That's the Tyne Bridge.
You'll bring your input.
It's got to be something else involved in it for me. You've got to be, as the viewer, in the scene. It's not you looking at the picture, you're in the picture. When you start looking at it, because you look at that image, say, you'll start bouncing around, and then before you know it, you think, well, actually, I can see myself there. Yeah. And it's not about, that's a picture of the stack and the groceries in the corner. It's just a scene in the city, which is night and it's light, and I can feel that city there.
And some pictures come to you a lot quicker than others.
Yes.
How long would, say, this one have taken? Just because some people have no idea and just think you just sit down and draw it in one sitting.
Oh no. I mean, the thing is, there's, like, say, the preparation side of things, the photographing, and you'll take loads of photographs, and you've got that one photograph will be hidden amongst them all, and then it's what you do with that. It's then, right, I've got to compose it and set it up, and even stitch photographs together to try and create the scene that I want, and then from that use that as the basis of my painting, and then I'll lay it out, and I can do, sometimes I just paint the shadows first, and then add the light after, like a grizzly, I think they call it, like a dark light then. Sometimes I just go straight in with the colour, and I'll spray white spirit on them and let the colours drop and things like. I'll just try anything to get what I want. Wipe off, all sorts. And you're looking at a good couple of weeks from start to finish in terms of getting to where you want it to be.
And you're always trying new things and new techniques, and just to keep it alive for you. So it's,
I mean,
it's never boring.
There's nothing worse than being stale. And as I was explaining to you earlier, the last lockdown walking around the city has been pretty poor. It saddened us really, with everything closed, and the life was gone out of it. And I suppose really that's why I ended up going and painting the beach and things like that, just to try and get some...
Just change things a bit,
But now...
To see your work on the wall together in a gallery, does that still give you a little buzz? Does that still make you feel right?
I'm just like a little kid. I'm shocked and stunned, basically. And the fact that people still like me work, it's, because like I'm doing it for me, and if people like it, then it's brilliant.
That's what I want.
And it's, I don't know, it's just how I am and what I want to do, and given the ability to do that, I know I'm pretty blessed in that respect. A lot of people can't do that. Not through wanting to try and just circumstances, I suppose. And I've found later in life that I've got this opportunity.
Passion to put it to great use.
And I'm taking it.
Well, get yourself down to the North East Art Collective, Elm Garden in Newcastle, and you can see Newcastle come to life at night on the wall here in the brilliant Northeast Art Collective. Robert's brilliant.
Thank you very much. Thank you.